Talk about Huda, we'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. We'll talk about Huda, we'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear brothers and sisters from around the world, to our live program, Viewers Pulse. And I'm your host for the evening, Junaid Dar. Dear brothers and sisters, I'd like to welcome you to today's program. It's going to be a very special program where we have a theme today which we're going to introduce to you in just a few moments. But before we do that, I'd like to send my thanks and praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and furthermore I'd like to make mention of the blessed name of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now, viewers, as you know, Viewers Pulse is your program. This is the hour that we spend together to communicate with ourselves, give each other ideas, give each other's new themes and thoughts that we can take forward and possibly put into action here on the channel. Furthermore, we'd like to hear your thoughts, your contributions. What would you like to see on Huda TV? What programs do you really benefit from? What programs would you like to see on Huda TV as well? So the phone lines and all means of communication are there for you to utilize and for you to get into connection with us. My dear brothers and my dear sisters, we are live for the next hour, and this is your hour. Hopefully it's where I'm doing the least talking and you're doing the most talking. So we want you to get involved and we want to hear from you so much. In our program today, we have a very special theme, and that theme is going to be talking about a certain social problem, a social ill that has affected the Muslim community in the East as well as in the West, and that is the phenomena of the words boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, those are two very difficult words for people to state in open or in public, but these are two words which are realities inside of our societies. We are finding now the establishment or the involvement of people, of males and females interacting with one another and having partners, girlfriends and boyfriends, now becoming a very common theme inside of our societies. What does Islam say about it? Is it permissible in Islam to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? And if so, how can one stop? And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with this action, then what can we do about it to rectify the situation? Now, many people have so many questions. What about, for example, if somebody has a relationship with a boy or a girl, but they do nothing wrong, they just talk? Is that allowed? So many questions that we would like to address, so many thoughts. If you agree with me and think that it's a phenomenon and it's something that is really hurting the Muslim community, either out of lack of understanding or because of the fact of the social pressures, please contact me. Give me your thoughts, give me your ideas. What do you have to say about this particular subject? Now, I'll go more into detail about that in just a few moments. Before I do that, I would like to go through the number of ways in which we can communicate with one another. First and foremost, the most direct method I would like for most of you to get involved in is through the phone. My dear brothers and my dear sisters, you can see our phone numbers there running across your screens, or very shortly you will see them, and you can pick up the phones. There we go. You can pick up your phones and call us. You can see our code, which is right about there, 002. If you're calling outside of Egypt, please don't forget to use the code, and those calling inside the Egypt, you can use those two numbers directly. Give me your calls, give me your ideas, give me your comments on the subject. Do you agree with me on the subject? Are you as passionate about this subject as I am? Do you think it needs to be talked about, or do you think we should just continue brushing our problems under the carpet? Now, so you have the first mode of communication. The second mode of communication is through email. You can contact us on pulse@huda.tv, and inshallah ta'ala your email will be greeted by a team of workers who will put together their responses and inshallah ta'ala respond to you in the quickest way possible. My dear brothers and sisters, the next mode of communication comes through from one of my personal favorites, and that is through Facebook. If you jump onto your Facebook accounts and type in Huda TV, you will see our page, and there are so many different benefits on our Facebook page. First and foremost, You will see reminders from the Quran, you will see reminders from the Sunnah, and you will see quotations from the scholars, quotations from those who are working in da'wah. So do join us on Facebook. It's an excellent opportunity to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not just that, my dear brothers and my dear sisters, I always, every week here on Viewers Pulse, I strongly encourage every person to share and to like the page. It's so important that you share the Facebook page with all of your friends and all of your families. Why do I say that? It's number one, because we're doing da'wah, and we want to spread our message, inshallah ta'ala, a light in every home, as you hear day and night. We want to, inshallah ta'ala, spread the authentic teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah to every home across the world. So help us to do that, and Facebook is one of the ways in which you can do that. So please do share and please do like our page. And there's one very beautiful feature inside of our Facebook page, and that is a link to our official page, which is titled Huda TV, and you can see our details. You can see one of the features of that page is the itinerary, where you get to see all of our programs. You get to see a list of our programs 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week. So do go to our official webpage, which is Huda TV, and do take benefit of all the things that are available on the web page as well. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, after you've utilized Facebook and you've utilized our official web page, you can move forward and join us also on Twitter. And our Twitter account, as you shall see on your screens, is Huda TV channel. Please do join us on Twitter, and there are lots of benefits. From amongst those benefits is the fact that our Twitter account is directly linked to our Facebook account, so you will get an immediate update to the activities that are taking place on our Facebook page. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, the next mode of communication is probably the most important, and that's through YouTube. I always encourage all our brothers and sisters around the world to join us on YouTube. You will see our channel on YouTube if you just simply type in Huda TV. And there are so many benefits. From amongst those are our archived videos. All the programs that you are watching or you have watched will be stored in our archive, and you can search through them through time, through date, or even through topic. So you have that beautiful feature of running through our previous programs. Not just that, but you can also watch Huda TV in the comfort of your home by just pressing the live streaming button, and you can enjoy all of our programs for absolutely free. And there is also a section where you can put your comments, so you can get engaged with fellow viewers and exchange ideas. Now also, my dear brothers and sisters, when it comes to YouTube, as you are fully aware, and as I remind you every single week, once again, please don't forget to press the subscribe button. Press that red button and subscribe to our channel, inshallah ta'ala. With your help, we are trying our very best to grow and to produce better and more programs, and inshallah ta'ala, in return, we will help the greater community. My dear brothers and sisters, the next mode of communication comes to us through Skype. So do join us on Skype as well. Type into Skype Huda_TV, as you will see on your screens in a few moments, and do join us and do befriend us on Skype, and inshallah ta'ala, we can have a conversation on Skype as well. So my dear brothers and sisters, that prepares us for our program today. There you go, this address for Skype. So my dear brothers and sisters, that prepares us for our program today. We have all the means of communication, and I want you primarily today to get used to the phone. I want you to get close to your phones and join me today with your thoughts, with your ideas, with your concerns. We've got a very social discussion today, and we are talking about the phenomena of boyfriends and girlfriends. My first question, which I put out to all of the viewers, is the fact that, do you agree with me that this has become a common problem in the East and in the West? It's affecting the Muslims on a large scale. That's the first question. Do you agree or do you disagree? My second question is this: do you think it's a big problem, or do you think it's okay? Do you think now, in the society, in the time and the day and age that we are living in, it's socially acceptable for Muslims to have relationships outside of marriage? And what does it exactly mean when somebody says they have a boyfriend or they have a girlfriend? Do they imply that they're just simply friends, or do they imply that there is a physical relationship taking place without a marriage contract? So these are the questions that we would like for all of you to really answer, and to pick up your phones and share with us your thoughts and your ideas. Furthermore, once we've got some kind of answers to these, I would like to have a look at also the means. Why is it that today, or in our society today, that it's so easy for a Muslim man or a Muslim woman, both of them. It's so easy for them to get involved in such a relationship. But if a person fears Allah and he wants or she wants to have a halal relationship, wants to get married, wants to live in the harmonious contract that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed in the Quran, why is it so difficult for that person to do so? But yet, if he wants to have a friend or he wants to have a companion in school, in university, in college, in work, it's extremely easy. Those are the questions for today, and we want to get your thoughts and your ideas on the subject. Brothers and sisters, don't feel shy. Feel free to share your ideas with us from the KSA, from the USA, from Nigeria, wherever. Call us, give us your thoughts, give us your contributions on the subject. We've got a special report prepared for you on this very subject, on the concepts of boyfriend and girlfriends. Let's watch this report together, and then when we come back, inshallah ta'ala, hopefully we can welcome our very first caller and we can have a discussion on the subject. So let's watch this report, and I'll see you all in a few moments.
He says, وَلَا يَزْنُونَ, and they don't commit zina. They don't have boyfriends and girlfriends. They don't have secret relationships. Why did he mention that? Because for some people it's always there. He's a good-looking young guy. He walks around in the mall and the girl looks at him and goes, hee hee. And he's like, oh, this is easy. You know, nobody's watching. I think it's okay. Should be all right. And he stops himself. He still stops. It's hard. I know it's hard, guys. I know. It's hard. But you stop yourself. The girl thinks that guy's looking at me, man. He must think I'm really pretty. And she starts smiling. She stops herself. No, this is wrong. I can't do this. This is not right. Just because my parents aren't watching, just because the police isn't here to stop me, doesn't mean it's okay. وَلَا يَزْنُونَ. They don't do it. They don't behave like that. There are young men in, like where I come from in the US, obviously, kids go to college, and college in the summer is bad. It's bad. And you have an 18, 19-year-old boy whose hormones are raging inside of him, and then there's in his college classroom, there's girls sitting that are barely dressed, and this girl comes over to him and says, hey, can you help me with the homework? And he's being tested by Allah. He's being tested. You guys are going to be tested. That's not just in America, by the way. That's not just in America. You'll be tested in the mall. You will be tested with this. And sometimes it's not going to be easy, especially for the young people here. It's not going to be easy. Maybe you have friends on your phone, man. Your parents don't know about it. You got a secret. You got another profile on Facebook. You're just updating it right now. And you have to unfriend all of those girls. Yep, you do. You listening? You have to unfriend them. And don't call them back. And don't text them back. And when they say, what happened? You don't like me anymore? You don't even say, no, it's not you. It's just Islam. No, don't do that. Don't even talk back. Just leave it. Drop it. End of story. No more. Girls, if you're up to this, stop it. You stop yourselves. This is not something your parents will come and control. When you are teenagers and you have hormones and you reach the age of puberty and you're attracted to the opposite gender, that means in Islam you are adults and you have to make your own responsible decisions. Your parents are no longer responsible for your Islam. You are responsible. If you are 14 years old, 15 years old, even 13 years old, and you die today, then Allah will not say, minor, go easy on him. You are treated as an adult in our deen. This religion makes you an adult early. The moment you start feeling a little funny about the other gender, you're an adult. You will be tried by Allah like a 50-year-old, like a 30-year-old. You're the same as them. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Don't think of yourself as just a kid. You are an adult. وَلَا يَزْنُونَ.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, after watching that short report by our well-respected speaker, Noman Ali Khan, who was there giving you an insight into the problem of boyfriends and girlfriends. Once again, my dear brothers and sisters, the phone number is there in front of you for you to pick up and you to call us in the studio. Do you share the same sentiments, the same emotions and feelings about this problem? Has it become rapid and is it affecting the Muslim society at large? Now, there are so many things to discuss on this very subject. First and foremost, is it permissible for a Muslim to have a boyfriend and a girlfriend? And I think that everybody would understand and everybody would agree that this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made impermissible. The relationship outside of marriage is clearly impermissible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stipulated for us a contract. The contract is a nikah, where a man and a woman, they agree to live with one another under the conditions stipulated by the Sharia. So we can see this is the ruling of Islam. But what are the reasons leading to Muslims these days having such relationships prior to marriage, or even those who are married who are doing it while they are married, which is a grave sin? Now, would one agree that it is peer pressure? That when we go to schools, when we go to colleges, we feel that we are under pressure to conform to society. I remember when I was in school, that's a long time ago, when you were in school, that it wasn't something that was so oftenly discussed. Does somebody have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? And if one didn't, then one did feel shy. But from what we hear in the schools and universities today, that if you are a young man or a young woman and you don't have a partner, then you will stand out. You will be the lone sheep and people will look at you funny. Maybe they will think there is something wrong with you because you don't have a partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Once again, my brothers and sisters, do you agree with my thoughts and my sentiments? If so, pick up your phones and call me. If you have solutions to this problem, please pick up your phones also and call me as well. Our next report is coming to us from our beautiful program Quran in Depth by Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan. So let's watch this report together. Then when we come back, we'll have a discussion on the topic and hopefully welcome one of your calls as well.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَسَيُدْخِلُهُمْ فِي رَحْمَةٍ مِّنْهُ وَفَضْلٍ وَيَهْدِيهِمْ إِلَيْهِ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا. Three things will happen to them. The believers, those who hold fast to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَسَيُدْخِلُهُمْ فِي رَحْمَةٍ مِّنْهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will admit them to mercy from Him, from Himself. As you see, this is something that might refer to the future. فَسَيُدْخِلُهُمْ. They will be admitted to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is definitely true when it comes to Jannah. Jannah is the place where the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is manifested in the most perfect way. So they will be admitted in Jannah. And also they will be admitted in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life, when they would hold fast to the book of Allah and the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They would receive the mercy of Allah that He will keep them steadfast, and they will be more and more obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the real mercy is when a person receives this one in this life, to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first one, they will be admitted into the mercy of Allah. It just needs some reflection to see these great rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the significance of saying fi rahmatin minhu. They will be admitted in a mercy from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not just any mercy, it's the mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing is the like of Him, and He's the most merciful. If all human beings and all what's in the hearts of the mercy that they have towards whatever, anything, every human being, they have a share of a mercy in there. Whether it's having a mercy towards their children, towards their parents, towards animals, whatever there is. If mercy has some physical aspect to it, and if all of these mercies, if it's correct to say, collected in one place, and all of this is to be given to one person only, how would you think that person would receive of goodness in this life? All of this together is nothing compared to the mercy of Allah. There's no even comparison. This is a creation of Allah. This is one part of 100 parts of mercy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, let along the mercy as an attribute of Allah. We're not talking about the attribute of Allah, the mercy yet. As the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ talked about the 100 parts of mercy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, The attributes of Allah are not creation of Allah. This is something else. Some people think that the hadith about the 100 parts of mercy, one part of it is on the face of earth. By this one part, everybody have mercy towards one another, and the mercy in the human beings, and the mercy of the animals towards one another. They think that this is talking about the mercy of Allah as the attribute of Allah, and that's it. No, this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing is the like of it. Nobody can ever comprehend the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how vast and how great it is. So the believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them admit into a mercy from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody can ever imagine what is this reward. فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُم مِّن قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ جَزَاءً بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no one, no nafs, no soul, know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had prepared from the comfort, for the comfort and the jewel of their eyes. No one knows whatsoever. Nobody have any idea how great the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We hear things, we listen to things in the Quran, but according to our limited knowledge of what good and what is bad, we are limited. But the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the reward from Allah, no eyes have seen, no ears have heard, no hearts have ever imagined. So فَسَيُدْخِلُهُمْ فِي رَحْمَةٍ مِّنْ. They will be admitted into a mercy from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whoever is admitted into the mercy of Allah, does he really care about anything else in this life? And the question is, if the unseen is lifted and people can see, and they get admitted to the mercy of Allah, would they care about the struggle that they go through in this life? Definitely not. Nothing whatsoever would make the believers compromise this mercy, compromise this truth, even if it's hardship, even if it's difficulties, because they know that if they are steadfast on the deen of Allah, they will return to the mercy of Allah. And as the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned the authentic hadith reported by Al-Bukhari and others, when a person dies, when the believers they die, they return to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they become relieved from the agonies and the miseries of this life. And the Prophet ﷺ would see a janazah or a funeral, and he would say mustarih or mustarahum min. He would see a funeral and he would say that deceased person that died, he said either he is mustarih, either he is relieved from the miseries and the tiredness and the agonies of this life, or the opposite, a disbeliever, humanity is relieved from his evil as a result of his death. So the believers, فَسَيُدْخِلُهُمْ فِي رَحْمَةٍ مِّنْ. He will make them admitted into the mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second thing is وَفَضْلِ. Fadl means bounty, and the literal meaning of fadl is something extra, something that above and beyond just justice. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would admit the believers into Jannah by the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters, after watching that short report from our program Quran in Depth by Ibrahim Zidan, who takes a portion of the Quran and gives a general understanding, a tafsir of that portion. It's a fantastic program. I encourage everyone to watch that program. There's so many benefits. Sheikh Ibrahim, mashallah, has spent years on this project, and he really extracts out the details of each of those verses. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, once again, give you a reminder of our theme today. We are talking about the problem that's affecting the ummah at large, and that's the problem of boyfriends and girlfriends. My dear brothers and sisters, as you are aware that this relationship is one outside of the teachings of Islam. The Prophet ﷺ, you know about the famous hadith when he went to the Isra wal Mi'raj, and he saw the punishments and the rewards of people, those in paradise, and punishments of those in hellfire. And it is reported that from amongst the things that he saw, while he saw the people struggling and suffering inside of the hellfire, was the punishment of the people that had committed adultery and fornication in this world. And the Prophet ﷺ teaches us about the severe punishment of people that engage in illicit sexual activities outside of marriage contracts. So much so, the Prophet ﷺ saw them burning in the hellfire and warned us about this particular activity. My dear brothers and sisters, let's move over to our next report, which is coming to us from our social program, Let's Talk. And we watch this together, and then when we come back, we'll continue with our discussion. Brother Ismail, let's bring you into the discussion here, especially with your background involved in politics and so on and so forth. Is Islam a core teacher of justice, and if so, why is it that today we find many of the Muslim communities being unjust?
Well, thank you for asking me the question. Really, as Muslims, we are guided by the divine law, which is the Quran, so, and also the Sunnah. You know, there are no ways for us Muslims, even the world, the tranquility that we need in the world, the peace, the love we need in the world. There is no way we can master all these things if we leave Quran behind.
Okay.
Because the Quran, you know, comprises of all the things that we need in this life. When we talk about justice in the context of Islamic studies, you know, we are referring to not only Muslims, like my brother said.
Sure.
Muslims ruled some places in the world, like in Spain. When they conquered there, they left the Christians in their own free will. Nobody was forced to accept Islam.
Sure.
And they served them. They gave them their right. This is Islam. So there is no way we can live, you know, in this world that we may create some kind of laws. We say this is a human-made law, like we have the ICC, which is not practicing any justice, because we have seen people who are pursued by the law. Like when you talk about presidents, but we have people that have committed crimes against humanity, whether in Iraq by Tony Blair and George Bush.
Sure.
All of those people are living today on in the surface of the world. Nobody is pursuing them. So, but the Quran, the teachings of the Quran says that, you know, you have to give the right to people who deserve it.
Excellent.
It doesn't mean that people, you know, when they do good, they have to be rewarded. Even if they do something that is bad, the punishment is determined by God in the Holy Quran. So they have to be punished according to the law of the divine law. Yes.
Okay, excellent. Brother Muhammad, if I can get your input now, what is the difference between justice and equality, or are they the same thing?
Yeah, this is a great question. You know, because many people, you know, tends to mix both. You know, justice. When we speak about justice, and I tend to refer to the word qist, because the word qist in Arabic means the ultimate justice. Well, the word adl in Arabic means just justice, merely justice. You know, but we, you know, God when ask us to be just, first uphold qist. Qist means ultimate justice. But you know, as your abilities you know, are concerned, so you can go for adl. You know, كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله. Then at the end of the day, اعدلوا وأقرب للتقوى means act justly. For Allah Azza wa Jal loves those who are just. إن الله يحب المقسطين. Allah doesn't, the Quran, you know, doesn't end the ayah إن الله يحب العادلين, means those who are, you know, equal, like equality. No, but equality here, you know, it's part of justice, because justice, you know, contains or includes two you know, main or basic attributes, which are fairness and equality. Fairness, to be fair, which is, you know, spelled out in the revelation. The Quran taught us what is wrong, what is right, what is bad, what is good, what is lawful, what is unlawful, and what is fair and what is unfair. So knowing where you know, where where some person or some organization or any other peer in a certain field of study or in a certain field of life know where to compete fairly and squarely, so they will know that this is the fairness that's part of justice. So they are, you know, nearer and next to piety, because أقرب للتقوى. And the second thing, which is equality. Equality is the second part. That's people who are you know, upholding the motto that all people are equal before the law, and who tends to apply the letter and the spirit of the law first. They know what equality means. So equality is part and parcel of justice, but it's not justice. It is not interchangeably used with justice. It's not synonymous with justice. It is part of justice, and without equality, justice is incomplete, and without fairness, justice is incomplete. Both half and half. You can put both to reach the word justice.
Okay.
And I would like to add one thing to why justice is missing. Why justice? Why we don't see justice in the land?
Sure, go ahead.
Because first of all, this is a perennial conflict.
Okay.
This is a long-standing conflict between self-interest and justice. People who are looking for self-interest, people who are elevating their hate or their love before justice, they tend to do injustice.
Okay.
They tend to swerve or depart very far from justice.
Okay.
So when we look in the Quran, we find that the Quran give us remedies and try to preclude all these impossibilities and all these impediments to justice.
Okay.
I won't talk about this because this needs a lot of talking, but because I don't want to take out my brother's time. But this is one of the things that we have to know. And the justice of Islam permits no favoritism.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, after watching that short report from our live program Let's Talk, which is usually presented by our well-respected presenter Yusuf Kroma, who does a fantastic job every Mondays at 7 p.m. Mecca time. On that particular episode, you saw me there standing in for brother Yusuf Kroma. But I strongly encourage everybody to join this particular program Let's Talk on every Mondays. It's a beautiful program, 4 well-respected guests from around the world with different perspectives on a subject, all come together to answer the presenter's questions. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, before we go to our break, I would like to remind you once again of our theme for the day. And we were talking about this social phenomena that has taken place inside of the Muslim community, and that is the boyfriend and girlfriend taboo. Now, is it really a problem? What do you think? What are your views on the subject? And for those that are involved in such a relationship, I would like to give them a gentle bit of advice here before we go over to the break. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us in a beautiful narration about 7 people who will be under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when there will be no shade, when the sun will be brought close to the people, and every person will be sweating in accordance with his sins. Those who committed the least amount of sins will sweat up to their ankles, those who did more up to their knees, and those who committed a lot of sins, then they'll be sweating up to their heads. And the Prophet ﷺ said that one of these 7 people that will be protected under the shade of Allah is who? Is a young man, a young woman that protected themselves at the time of fitna, when they could have very easily slipped and entertained themselves with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or committed in an illicit sexual act, but they feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they withdrew. That's one of the great rewards that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises the people who don't get involved in that particular act. My dear brothers and sisters, let's take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll continue looking at our reports and hopefully welcome some of your calls as well. So until then, I'll see you in a few moments.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy.
My dear viewers everywhere, welcome to another live edition of your program Ask Huda. Our phone numbers, they are code 002023855, 131 or 132, and the Facebook page is Dr. Muhammad Salah Official. Being able to get up for Fajr, to pray Fajr on time or to attend the Fajr in Jama'ah is the outcome of many practices. Yani, it is the result of working hard to increase your iman, is working hard to remain steadfast on the straight path.
I have a question. I would like to start. Actually, I'm a revert who is working in KSA from past 3 years, and I'm basically from India. So my question is
not to forget that Allah the Almighty made this ummah, the ummah of Muhammad, peace be upon him, superior because of this quality, the quality of enjoining what is good and forbidding what is evil.
Because this is very important. even in our country, in Muslim countries or non-Muslim countries, there are people who don't know how to do the ghusl. And I tried all the websites and YouTube videos, but I don't know which one is authentic. But if it comes from Huda TV, that would be something authentic, and I can forward it, and we can share it with other people. That would be a great favor for us.
Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest.
TV commercials motivate viewers into immediate action and to sway consumer loyalty from one brand or service to the other. That's why we're here for you, to help you sell your products and services by using creative ideas that bring life into your own TV commercial. Advertise your business and branded products and services on Huda TV. We will offer you fast-paced and energetic 30-second affordable TV spots. Advertise on Huda TV, acquire fresh customers, and stay within your budget. For more info or to receive a quote, please send your inquiries to advert@Huda TV. Huda TV.
Go ahead, Ya Shuaib. Recite from ayah number 16 to 26.
Yeah, okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد.
المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد.
وجاءت سكرة الموت بالحق ذلك ما كنت منه تحيد. ونفخ في الصور ذلك يوم الوعيد. وجاءت كل نفس معها سائق وشهيد. لقد كنت في غفلة من هذا فكشفنا عنك غطاءك فبصرك اليوم حديد.
Muhammad, the best of creation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, after a very short break, joining us on our live program, Viewers Pulse. Dear brothers and sisters, once again, the phone numbers should be running across your screens. Do join us in our discussion for today. We are talking about the very social phenomena of Muslims getting involved in relationships outside of marriage, boyfriends and girlfriends to be precise. What do you think of the subject? Do you think it's a problem? If so, how can we possibly resolve this particular issue? My dear brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, He first and foremost He gives the order to the believing men. What does He say? He tells the believing men to lower their gazes, that a man should lower his view, that if he is tempted or if he has seen something, then he should keep his eyes down and not look, for the protection of his own heart and for the protection of his own self. Furthermore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in another place in the Holy Quran, He commands the believing women to cover themselves. Allah commands them to dress in a modest way, modest such that does not arouse certain feelings or emotions inside of the opposite agenda. So we can see here, subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about this particular fitna between men and women, and He has given a solution for it. First, commanding the men not to be looking everywhere, to keep their eyes down, and secondly, for the ladies to keep themselves, the sisters, to keep themselves covered, such to minimize such a fitna from becoming apparent in society. My dear brothers and sisters, let's move to our next report, which is coming to us from Huda Tonight, our daily live program. Let's watch this together, and then we'll take some comments after.
And that's why I assume that quality education would require that the students would get into research activities as well.
Absolutely.
And not just memorize.
These are essential skills that should be taught to students now. They are the ones who would make the research. There are many things. For example, if we talk about curriculum a little bit, the curriculum should change nowadays. Now, there are many things that should be done in curriculum. For example, is there a way to specify specific things for students to learn? I can put the parameters and let the students select. I would select, for example, Mexico as an example for geography, and I would study the topography of this country, and another one would
with
apply
a wall or without a wall.
And another student would select, for example, Germany. A third one would select Bolivia, and so on and so forth. We select. Yes, what do we want? We want to know these things about this country. Now, and you do the job. You have the internet, you have the access. You do the job. You do the search. You don't have a textbook. But these are the parameters. That's what is expected from you, this and this and this, to know the capital, to know the main products that you produce, to know this and this and this. And I give everyone is almost half an hour or 10 minutes or whatever, according to the way I designed the lesson, and they would take the time to research and to come up to share this knowledge with the other students, and to say what is the benefit, what's common between this and this. Do you think that if you are a minister of trade in one of these countries, what are you going to trade with the other country? To ask these subtle questions, something very, very unique and very important. And who did most of the job? The students. But they needed some skills. That's why we need to focus on the skills, not the knowledge, because the knowledge is accessible now to everybody. So we need to change and to think in the right direction in order to achieve something more productive than what we used to do in the past.
Indeed. And you were just saying, Dr. Nuruddin, that you believe that as we move into this third millennium and move forward, that curriculums should be changed. And the rough, rigid model that we've known for decades does not fit today's world.
Yes, this is what I meant. Changing the curriculum. The problem is that you need to educate the teachers about that. But it takes very less time than you educate the students. Once you tell the teachers the model how to do the curriculum, and they are independent and they have some freedom, and they would do within some parameters that we agree on, they can do that, and it will be cheaper. For example,
it will take some audacity, though, to do this, and it will face objection and resistance from hardliners, or from those who believe in,
the textbook.
Yeah, exactly.
Those who are driven by textbook.
So this will be challenging.
It is. But when you educate people and when they understand, they would change totally. They would accept the idea. And now you try to imagine. I think I wrote a comparison between two things: using textbooks in teaching languages or using software in teaching languages. And I made a comparison, and you can find it. It's a wonderful research. You can imagine how cheap it is to invest on software, because once you produce the software, the copy would cost you perhaps, I would say, 1 riyal or 1 dirham or quarter of a dollar. Yeah, the copy that's produced. But if the cost of the book and the cost of the program or the software is the same, well, let's say $2 million to produce the first copy in the book and the first copy in the software.
Yeah, of course, the software's reproduction is free,
absolutely,
for free. I mean,
absolutely, it's for free.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's much easier to make changes here. And it's more effective because it talks, it speaks.
And it has a bigger reach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can imagine the difference between a country that uses software in teaching languages and a country that uses textbooks.
Yeah.
And when people understand this, they would submit. They are willing to submit to you.
Yeah.
They are willing to say, yes, you are right. You're saving money at least 10 folds of what you spend on textbooks. And now, with this advancement of technology and with the internet around us everywhere, in your mobile, you carry the whole world in your hand and you have access to all types of knowledge that you're looking for. Why do you need a textbook? Do you really, this is another step, do you really need a textbook? If all the information is in your hand, you just know how to look for it and you will find it there. Why do you need a book, a textbook, to carry this?
Yeah, but of course we cannot rid ourselves of books altogether, because still I assume that there is, I'm not talking about charm or magic of a book,
okay,
for somebody who loves reading or anything, but of course books will stand and until the end of times anyway.
Absolutely.
But they also perhaps they might complete each other in the end. I mean, we cannot let go.
This is halfway.
Of books, can
and I like this diplomatic answer, diplomatic comment.
At least in a book, I can highlight. You know what I.
You can do the same thing. You can highlight the things and take them and put them on one page.
At least the battery of the book will not, will not go down.
It requires. I know that this is very courageous. Yes.
It's audacious, actually. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, after watching that short report from our program Huda Tonight. The brothers and sisters, Huda Tonight is a live program which comes to you every single day of the week, except for Fridays and Saturdays at 10:30 p.m. Mecca time. That is, do join us. We start off with the first 45 minutes with news from around the world with our respected presenter Ali Coleman, and then we move over into the more social or more political or more religious discussions which have a variety of different speakers. So do join us on that fantastic program. My dear brothers and sisters, we've got our phone call. We have Brother Ahmed from Libya. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Ahmed, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Junaid. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing, my brother?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing.
Excellent. So, brother, what would you like to add to the subject or the topic of today? We're talking about the problem of boyfriends and girlfriends. Do you think it's a big problem today?
Brother Junaid, I hope this is the most controversial problem for our youth. And I don't know how we can manage this just to help. So what we can help with the youth in order to help is just for you, Huda TV, provide us programs that will enable the youth to choose the best for themselves in case they want to marry.
Okay, Brother Ahmed, thank you very much. Some problems with the line there, but I got your message. It is a very controversial subject, not because of the message coming out of Islam, but because of the fact that it's so widespread, and yet we know it's an act which is haram. Now, we will continue talking about the same subject. And we want to, if there's anybody else who would like to add to the subject, but we are fully aware that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this particular topic, or the relationship outside of marriage, haram, and we need to be very careful about it. We need to protect ourselves, and there are a number of things which we can do, which I'll just talk about very briefly before we conclude. From amongst those, the first thing that we can do is, number one, not to free mix openly. Now, what does that mean? It's a very vague word, but what does it mean? It means that when you are sitting with the opposite gender, that you are sitting there for a reason. There is a purpose for you to be there. If there is no real reason or real purpose, then you should pick yourself up and remove yourself from that gathering, because in the end it will lead to some form of fitna, and that is the correct way. And furthermore, the last thing I will make mention of is the fact that the Prophet ﷺ also spoke about the garments that a person should wear, a brother and a sister. Allah has given the hijab for both the brother and the sister, and we should look at the conditions and what makes the garments Islamically acceptable. My brothers and sisters, as usual, time flies when you're having fun, and we have so much more to discuss, but unfortunately we are bound to stop here. I thank everybody for tuning in, and I also thank Brother Ahmed for his courageous call all the way from Libya. Inshallah ta'ala, we will see you in an upcoming episode of Viewers Pulse. We will get to see more of your contributions, maybe through Facebook, through phone calls, and also give us your ideas. What would you like us to discuss on these upcoming programs? My dear brothers and sisters, we'd like to conclude here. We will see you next week on Viewers Pulse at the same time, at the same place. So until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We'll talk about Huda, we'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. We'll talk about Huda, we'll talk about our way. Come join us and have your say. Let's talk about our way. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home. Remember, you are not alone. Huda is the light in your home.